Do you see what I see?
I see a beautiful hamburger.
I bet it's a clue.
Yeah, I bet.
We'd better memorize it.
I don't think we'll have to memorize it. The hamburger's winning.
Boy, my mouth's watering. Let's go.
Come on, boys and gals. Let's have a barbecue.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday!
Wacky fun. Welcome to the show. All right.
All right.
Welcome, everybody. We got Theo back here. So we've been having a lot of technical issues. Right when I was supposed to make that transition from the countdown to the intro, I got an alert that we lost access to Facebook. I got zucked again, apparently. I thought I was back, but then I got double zucked. So, and then Theo's having sound issues. Can you hear us? Can you hear us all, Theo?
Yeah, I hear you now perfectly.
All right, so we're back. We're back in business.
That was the big compromise. So Theo's audio had to start working only after you got zucked off of Facebook. So.
Yeah, there you go. I'll take it.
We'll take that, Drake.
He's going to get beat up by Musk anyway pretty soon.
With all the AI technology out there, I'm surprised some video hasn't come out. That's exactly what they're doing.
Right. Go ahead and ring that like button, smash that bell, or vice versa, whatever you choose. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Let's do it. All right. So, Theo, welcome. Welcome to the CreaTV Cookout.
Glad to be here.
Glad he's working.
Definitely new for me.
Yeah. Well, this is like our, number 8 for us, so we're pretty new ourselves. I'm pretty new.
Well, y'all are doing great. I've watched, like I said, I've been watching a few of your streams, and I caught up to the few that I missed, but y'all are doing great.
I think you might be like our first fan. That isn't one of
I have no reason not to like it. I mean, y'all share good points. You have good opinions and things of that nature, and y'all think things through before you speak, so that's perfect.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, you assume that we do, but thank you.
We just wing it.
So
Theo, you run CreaTV. Want to tell us about that?
Well, CreaTV, the projects that we're developing, it was me and my brother mostly. Me and my brother started the channel as a way of sharing different creative ideas, but also just kind of we're hoping to do more, eventually dabble into live streaming, but we have been having a lot of technical issues on our own end. And my brother is not much for live streaming at all. He doesn't like being on camera. He likes to be the behind the scenes kind of guy. And now that we know that we could do well with just some profile images, then we might try that. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, CreaTV has been a project that me and him have been working on to produce different types of entertainment content that is positive, hopeful, but mostly sharing the message that many people have been longing to hear for some time, of just hope and the simplicity of having good character and things, and character building, mm-hmm. and things of that nature, and also just being dorks and nerds online. That's sharing our own things that we nerd out about, things that we've been interested in since we were kids. Spider-Man, superheroes, fantasy, the fantasy genre, everything that we're currently invested in, and comic books that we back and things of that nature. We really wanted to highlight independent artists mostly. So but we had to, building a channel, you have to start off with the fandom stuff, the things that everyone's into, and it's gotten kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, you want to pull people in, but you also got to do things you're passionate about. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, we're glad to have you.
You're in good company.
What's
I'm
that?
glad to be here.
I said, oh, you're in good company here. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about often how there's a shortage of independent or Christian artists, and I don't know, kind of forces us into the independent world. But I'm glad to be in the independent world. I think it's the right place to be in right now. Hollywood shut down anyway, so.
I mean, if faith itself is independent, if walking by faith is a personal walk, then yeah, technically you should walk independently, even as an independent artist.
Oh, well, I will say, like, everybody's been, like, with all the stuff that's going on in Hollywood and stuff, I think people are starting to just now notice. But this, like, some of the stuff has been going on for a long time. Like, there are a lot of contracts, like, in books, like, with the mainstream, is that if you sign on some contracts, okay, I can't name names or anything, but, like, if you sign into, like, one of the big 5 publishers and stuff, they have requirements for your sales, and for your a lot of your own marketing is still done by your own, like, you're still responsible for it and stuff. But they also have clauses like that they can make requests for specific changes to certain things, and you start to see a lot of this, like, agenda stuff kind of popping in here and there. Probably about, I want to say I started noticing it in the 2010s a lot more. Yeah. So, but
started noticing it around 2015.
I think things started being shoved down our throat more blatantly in 2015 for sure. Oh, hey, we got a newcomer. Everyone, welcome Whiskey Bayonet.
Hey, Whiskey.
Everybody.
And Ricochet. Sorry, I totally butchered your name there. Whiskey,
that's
aka Bayonet Ricochet.
Yeah, that's the company name.
There you go. Hey, welcome. Good to have you.
Thanks.
Hello, Whiskey.
Hey, how's it going? What are we talking about?
We were just catching up, talking about independent artists. Theo was telling us about CreaTV a little bit, his independent project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he's got some awesome comic book stuff that he's working on. So
some really awesome comic book stuff.
Yeah, not just my stuff too.
Yes,
just happens to be really awesome.
He did some really cool like time-lapse drawings of my Discord comic that's launching tomorrow on Fund My Comic. I'm actually sorry Luke's not here, because I was gonna say, don't forget, tomorrow I'm gonna be, bothering you probably.
That's exciting. You're launching tomorrow. What time are you launching?
Just midnight. So.
Okay.
Well,
sweet.
Yep. A dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably be the first backer.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very nice of you.
I can get you to it. It's a race.
I will say, I know that your name is in the book because I originally started it on Kickstarter, and then, I'm not really great at marketing, believe it or not. The nice thing about having you guys all here with me is that I can pretend that I have some kind of clout. And so I think this time, like I said, with Luke's help, I'm sure it'll do much better. So everybody else that's kind of working in conjunction with his manosphere, right? So but I was gonna, like I said, he does really great drawings. So, and he's open for commissions. So thank you for the last one, Theo.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, that one in particular was one that it kept on popping up in my head, and I just had to put it down on paper. Otherwise, it would have clogged up the pipes, and I would have lost my mind.
I like the gold kind of shiny effects. So
yeah, that was the fun part. I was telling my sister was talking about how she liked the fact that I did that because it captures his powers, and it captures also just the feeling of the character, the way the character is shown in the comic book.
It looks a lot more 3D, and actually Bayonet does some 3D work too. he was showing us the zombies the other week. So
Oh, yeah.
I know it's not the same program, but
I just use Ibis Paint and Clip Studio, and I don't do anything 3D. But thank you. I started doing 3D modeling, but when it comes to drawing, I like to start on paper and go from there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3D is
what's
its own kind of mixed bag of things.
Oh yeah.
I think you told me the
time-consuming.
program that you use Bayonet. I don't
Yeah,
remember it though.
The main one that I use for sculpting is ZBrush. I use other programs as well, but the majority of the work that I do is in the one program.
Pardon me
Is
if
that the
I
one
make
that you
a
had-
noise.
Is that the
So
one
what?
that you do your zombie on?
Yeah, the probably we're looking at the main, or one of not main character, but the antagonist for the comic I got coming up called Driftwood. So it's like a lich, an undead wizard, and it's probably most likely the one that you saw that I had up on my profile pic the last time I was doing the show.
What did you make your avatar with, RJ?
I actually commissioned it. It's a
okay.
JP7 over on Twitter, X Twitter. Yeah, he's a really good artist, and I just found his work and commissioned him for it. So
Yeah. Well, yours is like a starfighter. So we got Sophie and I are working on superheroes, and Bayonet's working on zombies, and you've got alien stuff, right?
yeah, basically, yeah, my main character is like basically Delta Force in space in like 1,000 years in the future. So
That sounds fun. I gotta check that out.
yeah.
Are you looking forward to Doom Part 2 this year?
I am very much.
That's
I'm
what
a
that
big
makes me
sci-fi
think of.
fan. Oh yeah, totally. It is a little like that. I borrow from a lot of things. I have a lot of source material. But
I think
it's
after a
very
while,
well
it's hard
too.
not to sound derivative for what it's worth.
Yeah, it is.
Possible.
I mean, inevitably you're gonna pay homage to your inspirations, but hopefully it's an original story. I think people are gonna love it. The first draft got some good reception, but I'm making some edits that I think drastically improve it. So the final product I think is gonna be great.
Well, I like your avatar. I think it's really cool. So I'm looking forward to everybody's work. So.
Oh yeah, there it is. There's Scary Whiskey.
There you go. Yeah, that's the character I was talking about. So he's reference art for one of the main antagonists in the book I'm working on.
Nice.
It's called Driftwood. It's a story about necromancers and undead, and it poses the question: what happens if you're telling a story from the perspective of expansionist evil empire that telling their story rather than the story of the good guys.
Universal manifest destiny. I love it. Cool.
As well, I can show you one of the sneak preview of one of the pages as well.
Yeah, let's see it.
Now I gotta go find the page. Shouldn't take long.
Do.
There we go. All right. Here we are.
I honestly don't know how much longer people will recognize the Japanese or the Jeopardy theme song.
All right, I know.
Yeah, it's getting dated.
I tried to watch it because my mom still has cable. I love my mom, but I told her before, just go streaming. You won't miss anything. And I saw a couple episodes, and it was just not the same.
So we're looking at.
There we go. Oh, sorry, I messed up. No, I'm messing up again. All right. Sorry, guys. I was trying to make.
No, you're okay.
It's fine.
We all have tech issues.
Yeah, no kidding. All right.
Tech issues, I'm pretty sure, are universal. So.
You were making your screen bigger, Whiskey. Did you do that yourself? All right.
What, mine? Yeah, I have somewhat control of.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, you take over. Sorry.
I don't have control of your thing.
I think he's showing his picture.
Yeah, that's
You
all I can
have-
do. I can only like.
Okay.
That's it.
That's still really cool though. That's
Man, the detail work is beautiful.
Yeah, this is by Renzo Rodriguez. So this is like one half of a 2-page spread. I'm not going to show the full thing. That's
Gotta
only
keep things.
yeah,
Yeah, keep things close to the shirt or sleeve, whatever. You gotta keep it close.
keep your cards
Yeah.
close to your.
There we go. That's what I meant to do.
So you need some sort of anticipation and stuff. So this is like the the universe, and these zombies here are pulling something. They're all chained up, and we'll eventually see them more later on, but not until the book launches, which I'm aiming for next Halloween, 2024.
Well, that's a good time to do it.
That's a great
Very
time to release
topical.
it.
It gives me about a year to promote it and get people interested in it, get all the work finished for it, and I want to launch it on specifically on that date, Halloween 2024.
Oh, well, yeah. I wish it was in color. I think that.
Well, I mean, it will be. This is just a sneak preview. I'm gonna do an artist book as well if I can afford it. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No,
that's okay.
That is wonderful, though, man. That artist is fantastic. It's like that's some of the work that I try to do, but it takes time. It is time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
He knocks this out in about this particular thing, 2 pages, about 3 days, give or take.
Yeah, this page alone would take me a day. It would take me a day to do this page. It would a whole day. If it was a full page like this, then yeah. But that's colored and everything, so it's. But this level of detail, that's wonderful.
Yeah, he just had a lot of fun with it, so he just kind of kept going. He didn't there was no need to go that far into it, but he just apparently fell in love with the concept and the ideas, and he's just like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. So it's kind of interesting.
That's how you know an artist is doing what they love.
Yeah, that's the best part, when somebody can really connect with your stuff and they really want to bring it to life, and it's not just another job for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy who created my avatar, my fat girl avatar here, his name is Spencer, and he did a great job with it. I think it's cute. But Fat Girl's my series where I just wrote it out. It was supposed to be originally a TV show in my mind, but he did a really good job of bringing Fat Girl to life. She's she's a teenager. She wants to be a model, and her mother has abandoned her to return to her previous modeling gig, and so she's trying to become a model on her own, and she ends up eating radioactive donuts courtesy of her dad's mother. So it's and you become your biggest fear. So her biggest fear, of course, is just being fat enough. It's not making fun of fat people. It's making fun of people who think the worst thing in the world is to be fat. So making fun of shallow people. Get it right, Twitter.
Does she have a superpower that comes with that?
Not really. She sits on people.
It's like classic kind of blob stuff.
Well, so the whole plot line is that she has to stay as Fat Girl because her grandmother used to work for the government, and somebody stole her donut recipe. Because if you feed somebody basically this poison that will turn them into their biggest fear, it's actually a bioterrorist sort of weapon. And somebody stole a recipe and blamed her for it leaking, and she got fired. So she's like, I'm gonna go find this person, and you have to help me by being Fat Girl and drawing all the media attention away from her and stuff. So, and it's a very nice. It's almost like a buddy cop sort of superhero series where she and her grandmother team up, and they secretly hate each other but love each other at the same time for different reasons, misunderstandings. So
that's a great concept.
Yeah, I'm a good writer.
We were just talking about the difficulty of men writing women, and I feel like that just highlights it. I don't know if men could come up with a relationship concept like that.
Isn't there a joke about that or something where it's like
It's a whole Seinfeld episode.
How to write a woman? It's like something along the lines of just write a man, but like remove all culpability and responsibility or something.
Yeah, it's from As Good as It Gets. Is a Jack Nicholson line.
I mentioned that before the stream.
That's a great movie, by the way.
I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Oh, really?
So.
His character has OCD, and he's also a writer. It's mainly about his OCD and like the romance, but like his OCD is just kind of like part of his character. But yeah, it's actually a good movie.
Yeah, well, it's Helen Hunt and Jack Nicholson, right? So
Yep.
Helen Hunt has mixed reviews, I think, from when I was younger, but she's aged much better, I think. You know, people look back on her career and like, you know what, she wasn't that bad. So
yeah, she might have been a little overrated back then, but yeah, she wasn't that bad.
Nah. Yeah, my friend Rob just hates her movie Twister, so that's the one I think of her in though all the time.
Yeah, there's Twister, and then I thought Mad About You was kind of an overrated show. It was just kind of a down.
I do remember Pay It Forward too. That seems to be the only other one I can think of at the moment.
Yeah,
I never saw that.
I saw it once.
I think you only need to see that once. So
yeah, it's not a great movie, but it's a good concept.
You need to watch it to remind yourself that Haley Joel Osment used to be a kid actor, and he was like a legit kid. So he wasn't playing some kind of weird version of himself in The Boys. So,
have you guys seen the movie This Is 40?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
I tried watching that, and I couldn't get past like 40 minutes. So.
Yeah, who's the character? I can't think of the actor's name now. Ant-Man?
Yeah, it's Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, yeah. So Paul Rudd's character, he's got this really depressing line. He's like, you know, marriage is like an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, but it's not funny. It's such a downer. I feel like that was the whole show of like people yelling at each other.
I think I've only seen a couple episodes of Mad About You, and I don't remember thinking they were particularly impressive to me, but I was probably a lot younger. I was probably in my early teenagers years when I saw them. It came on after The Nanny and The Golden Girls on Lifetime. So
man, those shows.
My mom liked those shows.
Memories,
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Paul Reiser live. His stand-ups are good, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of Mad About You. I like Seinfeld a lot, though. I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff in Seinfeld.
I feel like in my head, that's like the thoughts I have in my head are a lot like the conversations George and Jerry have.
Oh, I have so many older friends that are like, yeah, I'm just like George, and I'm like, no. No, I would notice. Well, like you want to grow up and you think you're going to be Jerry when you grow up, but it's actually turned out to be George.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. No, just their dialogue to me, it's like, yeah, these are like literally my thoughts. This is very relatable.
It's difficult not to relate to most of the characters in Seinfeld. I mean, Jerry, my favorite episode was when he got dumped by some girl and she expected him to react in a more like, no, and just it did not turn out that way. He was like, okay, then goodbye. Have a nice day. Like he just brushed her off. Nothing happened. Like I'll have another good day tomorrow. Like I'll find someone else. Good luck.
Right.
That's my favorite episode. That one in particular, it was one of those things because I think around that time frame, particularly around that episode, my own girlfriend was kind of on that warpath. She expected more reactions out of any reaction that I could give to, because she would she basically confessed to doing something, and it was, I don't know, it was a mess. So it was funny though, because my reaction was like, well, goodbye then. There's no like, what else do I do? It was like, she expected me to go fight him, and I was like, he's not to blame, you are. Why would I blame him? It's like, you're the problem here.
It's almost like she wanted that.
For not simping and not being able to see that. So
it's like, what other reaction could there be? It's like, there's, and then that episode came on like, I think like a week after, and I was just like, ha. It's like, just, there was no other reaction to have to that. I was like, that was a perfect episode. It was almost a complete parallel, and I was just like, that's wonderful. And he just got to have a nice meal, and that's it. Goodbye.
My favorite episode of Seinfeld is the one where Elaine's eating the cake. Like, she has that like wedding cake that's been preserved from, isn't it like Prince Charles and Diana's wedding?
Oh yeah.
She eats it. I was like, yep. And so they scurry around and try to get a replacement made, and it's like, so nobody finds out that she did it, but I guess like there was a videotape of her doing it, and she's like just dancing as she's eating there, and it's like, yeah, that's how I feel about when I eat cake too, you know.
Yeah, that show's just genius.
It captured a lot of elements of life that people just ignore.
Yeah,
people just kind of, they brush off like it's not like something that no one could relate to. But that show tried to relate to people, and that's one of the things that is missing from a lot of movies and shows today. It's kind of the relation between people. I think they were trying to relate to people that are only they're only in Hollywood. People who live in their life, their type, their circle, their bubble.
Yes. 100%.
No one lives in that bubble.
Yeah, one of my favorite commentaries on the new TMNT movie is that they turned April into what journalists are today, and and it was I like compliments like that, in the sense that like you could take it either way. It's like, yeah, this could be really insulting or really, really complimentary, depending on who's saying it. So.
Yes.
I don't know if it's real, but I saw a picture of a woman who looked just like the new April O'Neil, and it claimed she was the creator of this character. So it's just like another case of projection.
Self-insert.
Yeah, self-insert, exactly.
It's kind of gross, because if it's a full-grown woman playing basically a 12-year-old, they said the characters are not really teenagers in this. They're like preteens.
Oh, really?
I
like
thought it was
11
just the
to 12.
turtles that were the teenagers. You know,
She's like she's supposed to be like maybe 13 at the most, not much older, like a freshman, maybe. And she's supposed to be like an early grad type thing. Like she got there sooner.
I've seen that tactic kind of used by a bunch of people, talking about where someone posts April O'Neil, like as you see her from like the cartoon or the comics or whatever, like a full-grown adult, and she looks smoking, whatever, right? Attractive. And then they use this line where they're like, or about like, saying like she's that's gross. Like she's supposed to be a teenager, like, and they call you creepy or whatever. And you're just like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, she's a reporter. She's like got a career. How would she be a teenager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
they're like, but they're just using it as a tactic to like shame people, that are essentially making
unhappy at how ugly she looks.
Yeah.
That's funny coming from the people who want to silence.
I'm a woman. I'm allowed to say that. She looks
they could just made the character a new character. They didn't have to make her April O'Neil to begin with. I think that people would have liked her better if she was like an actual, like a friend of April O'Neil. Make her someone
even like
else.
A fan, or I said like why don't they do a rival, like a rival TV? Like you could make her any gender or any.
And that's always funny too, because like you guys remember Die Hard and that little news anchor rivalry they had.
Mm-hmm.
Eat it, Harvey.
That would have been fun.
That was a great little fun rivalry. They could have done something like that.
I could just called it Turtles: The Younger Years, and then April hasn't shown up yet, right? That's their first friend, and then they help them solve crime or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd still be a trash heap.
Yeah. You know,
It is
part of
kid is
the
very
problem. Oh,
theological.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead there, Theo.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't want to interrupt, but the animation style, one of the main things for me, whenever the movie was coming out, it wasn't so much like I didn't even care about the characters' designs at first. It was the overall animation style, and I know many people like the style because it's very reminiscent of the Spider-Verse. But personally, I feel like that style is being done to death. They're kind of killing it in a way. I saw it in Puss in Boots. The Puss in Boots movie was very similar in the same animation style as the Spider-Verse movies, and it's becoming a bit too much. Like I understand they're trying to bring this new style, or it's somewhat new. It's not really. It's rotoscope. It's been around since the 1970s, 60s, and all that.
That's
They're
all
around
the
forever.
original He-Man cartoons were in rotoscope.
Yeah. But the way they do it, trying to make it more comic booky and then trying to give it a feel that it's supposed to capture the comic books. But the thing is, part of the charm of the TMNT was the cartoony, the animated aspect of them. If you look at the early 2000s cartoons / 90s, it's in between. But that cartoon, that animated series was easily one of the best ones. And then you have the live action movies from the original ones in the 90s and 80s. Those particular movies, you just can't. It doesn't capture the heart of those in this new storytelling, this new style that they're trying to create, and the animation kind of dilutes the whole story. And then there's the fact that the story itself isn't as good because the teenagers are not relatable. When I was a kid, I've never met a teenager who acted like those people, except maybe the kids who got bullied, I guess. The few kids that I knew that were bullied often, very profusely. I mean, there was something sad about them. I mean, I felt bad for many of them, and I tried to stop that kind of stuff. But that behavior, sometimes they drew it out of you. Like they did stuff to intentionally antagonize someone, and then they got beat up for it. And that's what these turtles remind me of. Like they are trying to get beat up. They're like the kind of teenagers that they want. It's like they are a glutton for punishment, and it's just the way they created them. Maybe that's what they're trying to say, is that these teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are mutant teenagers. Like they're the worst of the teenagers. They're the ones that you kind of hope get it knocked out of them.
It seems performative. If you imagine a teenager in today's society, like a normal teenager, then you like a agenda-driven teenager that's very performative, like from a theater group or something, and it doesn't make a lot of sense because you can't relate to it. I mean, I was a nerd in high school. I mean, I wasn't provoking anybody, but you still had people like you call you a nerd. But not once did my group of nerds ever act or speak or anything like these turtles in the movie.
Yeah, I think it is another self-insert. Seth Rogen said something along those lines that it's just for the kids who got beat up. And yeah, it is like they're trying too hard. I definitely agree.
They went too far. They overshot, I think, because I feel like maybe this was just Seth Rogen. Like that, it's because the turtles are all one voice. If you notice, they're all like the same voice actor. They all sound the same. So imagine they're all one person. If it's Seth Rogen and it's his story, he's just telling his side of the story,
right?
And it's just telling how he was the one that got beat up and was treated that way, and he's the one that is that way. But the thing is, with him, I could see why he got beat up.
Right. He probably just asked for it all the time, like those kids you knew.
Yes, it was like they would antagonize. They did something to insult their intelligence, or they did something to a kid can't control how intelligent they are except by learning. And if the kid has trouble learning, you know how it is in school today, especially today. Like today's school, the teenagers, and they're kind of pushed to the side or told, do whatever the heck you want, but make sure that you do your homework. And you can't learn anything that way. You have to sit down and talk to them. They don't do that. And so this kind of reaction, the way they try to depict, I should say, the way they try to depict these characters, it just seems very much like they're trying to show the one person's story. And yeah, so it seems like a very big self-insert of maybe it's Seth Rogen himself.
It wouldn't surprise me after all the Santa Inc. trailers I've seen from him. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Why does he still have jobs? That's what I want to know. What does he know?
I mean, mind you, there's some good movies I've seen. I actually enjoyed him in the Green Hornet movie. That was actually kind of funny. Granted, it was a bit perverse. I didn't like that, but
I like
had
Kato
elements
in the
that were-
movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kato was awesome. Kato deserves his own
yeah.
series. Whoa.
for sure. Especially since it used to be Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I remember
Also-
him from the actor guy from Shaolin Soccer too. I remember that as a kid.
Yeah, Seth
That was
Rogen
great.
had I think a strong start to his career. His later stuff, I think that might have fizzled.
Yeah, and it
I think
doesn't help
part of-
that the way he. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. It's your show.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think part of our culture is probably people have said like you can't tell the last couple decades from the last, like you could, 90s is very distinctive, the 80s are very distinctive, but once you get to like the last 20 years, it's all kind of gray. And
Yeah.
I think part of it is because we've given so much power to the youth of the culture. And like 20 years ago, Seth Rogen was probably pretty funny and, you know, had a lot more going for him in terms of goodwill. So, you know, like,
I think it's
like, I
over
think-
time.
yeah,
The politics. It's the politics.
It's definitely hard to be funny when the rules for the Overton window are so narrow today, and like there's no way that he can get away with telling the joke, any joke like 15, 20 years ago that he would have told to some degree without offending like half of the people he hangs out with.
Yeah.
So, or the producers or the writers or any people making the film in the first place. So it's not just Seth Rogen's a bad writer or a bad actor or whatever.
Yeah.
It's every single person involved in the projects that they create are basically stopping any sort of, I don't know, fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
It's one-
Jonah Hill made that movie where they were saying like the N word and the C word a lot or whatever, and he essentially like pulled it, you know, and it was based around just like skateboarders in the 90s or whatever. I forget what the name was.
Oh yeah, mid 90s. I think that's what it was called.
Was it? Okay. It's like, so like as an author, like I don't like Ben Stiller that much personally. Like a lot of his movies are stupid, but the fact that he said, "Oh, I have no regrets about Tropic Thunder," I was like, "Oh, I have some respect for you as an author, as a creator. It's like you need to stand by your work." So.
Yeah, he knew it was offensive at the time. We just stand by it.
Same with Rob Schneider. He's a good actor too. Like for like as far as you know, being on the douchebag side of politics.
Yeah.
Well, when we borrow the world from our youth, though, it makes it really hard to find any good. First of all, I don't think people who are young have had a lot of life experience that allow them to do really great things in many ways. I can only name a handful of genuinely talented young people that I've heard of in my life, and I think a lot of it is manufactured behind them. If you think of like Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber, as like all these big pushes to have like big names and stuff. And
you know, one of the things I'll say, even though I'm probably sorry if I'm interrupting. The one of the things I'll say about Taylor Swift as a choice of artists, personally, I think she's not bad. I don't like her new stuff, but I actually liked her when she was younger. It was music that actually was entertaining. It was lighthearted, and something that's kind of missing from today. If you look at a lot of the music they've been coming out with, the only way you can really listen to anything good is if you listen to indie stuff and listen to anything worth listening to, I should say. It's where you don't feel clouded by innuendo and things like that. You have to really hunt for good music.
Have you guys heard Rich Men North of Richmond?
I think so.
I
Yeah,
saw
I
the notice going around. I didn't listen to it yet.
Oof.
I've literally just heard it today.
It hits pretty hard. I mean, the lyrics are pretty strong, and I mean, they're not brilliant or anything, but they're honest.
It's
And I think
topical
that's what
for the
people like
time.
about it.
Yeah,
Topical for the time.
Yeah, it's
I
topical
wouldn't
for
call
the
him young
time.
either, due to my point earlier. So I wouldn't call him young exactly. I meant more like
Oh yeah,
like
younger people.
like
Early
well, like
20s.
I saw an article about how like people during the pandemic, like if they were like rich or famous or Hollywood or something, they were trying to get YouTube stuff started for like their
Mm.
kids.
Mhm.
And I was like, no.
Right.
You don't do that.
But I think that's part of the appeal of this new song, because
Yeah.
it's authentic, and in a world where everything's just kind of fake, and you could launch something easily, typically if you've got a lot of money and influence, and we have a lot of AI and computer generated things, and this is just some guy in the woods with a guitar or a banjo,
Yeah.
I think, and a microphone, and just singing out in the woods. I think people will find that refreshing.
Yes. I do think we have become too distracted by the special effects.
I think AI is gonna, I don't know. I got this paranoia a couple weeks ago when everyone was talking about AI, and I think it's interesting that it's not taking over prominently in super practical things. It seems to be taking over in art for the most part, and
Which can be its own danger, I guess.
yeah, I think that's dangerous. Like the human spirit, what's that going to do to us as creative beings if we have a machine creating for us?
Personally, I think that they need to make it to where it's heavily regulated, where you can use it to finish an artwork, but you can't use it to actually, like, you have to still have the framework for it yourself. You have to make sure that the source material is your own.
That's
think
fair. I'd go
anyone's-
for that, which is weird
I
for
don't
me
know.
to say, being a free
I
market.
think they should. I think they should
small government
outlaw
person.
it. I'm of the camp that they should outlaw it entirely, and there's a couple of reasons I go with that one. Mostly is because art already homogenizes as is, right? And people derive a lot of stuff from, like, art essentially shapes culture, and when it becomes homogenistic or homogenized, you see one artist copying another after another, and I'm already seeing regular artists copy what the AI have already produced to get similar looks, or using it in their work and then modifying it. Then another artist will pick that up, another artist will pick that up. For a little while we saw pastel colors almost everywhere, right? In art, and it's just going to get worse from here, right? At this point, it's going to homogenize. The writing's going to do the same thing, and I don't know. It just looks soulless. Like, you can tell.
You're kind of right about. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah, I'll agree. It does make things look a lot more drab and fake. So.
It does feel. It lacks that emotional tether that you have. Like someone draws something that truly was something they really loved drawing. You can feel it in it. You can feel their heart in it. You can feel like there's a connection to it. And even if it's not perfect, you can see. In fact, the imperfections kind of make it worthwhile. It makes it you can see where their flaws are, but you also see that they tried their best to make it better or to try to improve on it. And especially over time with AI art, it's a computer improving, so it's not really anything. It's computer generated. There's no heart. It's just pumping out another version. It's the equivalent of art porn. It's corn. I forget that.
No, it's okay. Our first stream, I was joking about IRS porn. So get those taxes done, people. So it's you won't find that on Pornhub. No, I agree with that though. And I mean, even I will say this too. Like, my problem with being a writer is that, like, I want to make sure that I'm a writer first before, like, a business person. And you can have a good balance, and for what it's worth, I have a decent balance with it. But like when it comes, like honestly, I love Fat Girl, but like, it's probably not my most lucrative It's not my most lucrative series, and it's like, and it's because it's weird and unusual and kind of niche, and like, but you still write it anyway, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
I choose to write it anyway.
I mean,
I do know some
it's a
like
story.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
it's a story that like people like I've known some authors who will give up on series that they're writing if it's not making money, and it's like I don't believe that. I think you should finish it even if it sucks. But and then there are some authors who have been traditionally published for years and years and years and years, and you can kind of tell when they're phoning it in. So
Yeah, I know that. I mean, if you look at even some anime, or I should say manga, if you look at My Hero Academia, if any of you have read that, of course, I'm sure some of you have. The My Hero Academia, if you've read some of the manga, it kind of slowly has teetered off here and there on certain issues of the manga, and the storyline. It's because of the fact that they're told to push out a certain type of storyline. It's a business; they have to make money, and they're intelligent about it. They definitely try to make sure there's as much action and adventure, and the storyline keeps pumping out a good level of momentum. But if they lose momentum, you can see it because it's the artist or the writer not wanting to write that story anymore. And I think if you love the story, even if it sucks, like you said, it needs to be done. It needs to be completed. You can't just, you gotta see it through. Otherwise, you feel like you've lost something, like you lose a bit of yourself, I think, because
it's like a miscarriage of a dream.
Yeah. There's an old children's book that I wanted to put out. I haven't put out yet. It's not my wheelhouse. So there's one that I was writing. It's called the. Sorry, my brain went blank there for a second. It's called Defenders of Home Tree. It's a storyline that I wrote about some of the animals that are in my backyard. They kind of follow me everywhere I go. If I go to the park, the same squirrel follows me all the way to the park, and the same animals. It's a squirrel. It's a story about a squirrel, a sparrow, a canary, and a turtle. 3 of those were pets of mine, and it was a canary, the squirrel, the canary, and the sparrow. They all just were like honorary pets because the sparrow kept landing and perching on my front porch and never left. He aged and died. He lived a full life. And then you have the canary, sadly, who lost his life because of a neighbor. And then you have the turtle, also died of old age. But the storyline kind of honors those characters, and they're defenders of their home tree. Kind of a play on words of defending your border, kind of just that sort of thing.
Good neighbors make good fences.
Yeah, but basically the whole storyline is about them fighting to protect their home tree and the hidden world of animals, and it's kind of like they're soldiers in a battle. They fight against rats, they fight against possums and things, other critters that try to hurt them, and even construction workers who try to tear down their tree. They torture them and break the machine, like they break their crane or their axe or whatever they're trying to do. They find a way to stop them, and it's a funny story and it's lighthearted. I wrote it when I was like 12, but I have been trying to flesh it out more. I think I have 3 books out of that one, but it's a children's book. It's definitely a children's book. It's not something that I really wanted to focus on.
Yeah, well, it's surprising how like those little like I think even C.S. Lewis says like it's Madeline Langell. She said like if you have to write a book about an important topic for adults, you or like you could have to write for children or something like that. I will say that's very different from my idea of having a children's book. So I wanted to draw, or like I'm not a very good drawer, so I admire everybody here who draws. But my idea for a children's book was it's called If Sin Was Dog Poo. And because like when you explain to people, like you're a sinner, you're in dog poo, and they're like, everybody's in dog poo. It's like, yeah, you're in dog poo. You know, like, I just thought it would be fun to tackle it from that angle.
Yeah,
It's a great concept.
So,
it really is.
oh, I thought it was genius. And my editor is like one of my best friends, and she's sitting there just like, do you even hear yourself some days? And I'm like, nobody's gonna buy this, and I'm like, I don't care, I just want to write it. So, and even like the whole picture came to me because like, I think there's like a debate on Twitter with the Catholicism and Protestant Twitter is interesting, you know, and it's like at the end of the day, I don't have any strong feelings about, like, you're not going to go to hell if you think Mary is praying for you, and you're not going to go to hell if you don't think Mary is praying for you. So, but I'm like, yep, I can just imagine Mary having like these like dog poo type stains on her robes while her belly is like glowing, and like Jesus is like walking on top of the dog poo that everybody, and it's like clinging to everybody else, and he's cleaning it off the feet of Peter and Judas at the Last Supper, and like, yeah, this is a perfect metaphor.
Yeah.
So maybe
I mean,
one day I'll get somebody to draw it out for me.
Will Jesus wash the dog poo off the aliens? Is that the question?
Well, I'm sure they have their own version of dogs, right? So, but yeah, everybody poops. It's a biological reality.
Everybody does poop.
Yeah.
I mean, please. We both know that there are no aliens. They're demons.
That could be.
Do demons poop? That's a good question.
That's a great question.
I'd say some poop is demonic. So
You've heard of the? I'm not sure if it's actually true, but I saw it in the that was that Dogma movie, the demon Golgoth or whatever. You ever seen Dogma?
Yeah, I've seen Dogma. It's been a long time though.
I think I avoided it.
Yeah. Well, there's the demon of Golgoth or whatever. He's like a poop demon. I'm not sure if it's actually a thing. But what happens is the premise of the demon is like all of the people that the Romans persecuted and stuck to crosses and stuff, and when their bowels gave out, became a demon.
Oh.
That I could see a demon forming because of that. So that's a.
It could be based on mythological.
There are spirits of filth. So, I mean, I've heard of that. And it's something that's spoken of in Catholicism and many different religions. The spirit of filth, or unclean spirit. So it makes sense. I would not disregard that.
Have you guys? I subscribe to the Daily Wire, and I listened to Another Kingdom, which is the book Andrew Clavin wrote that Michael Knowles narrated.
Yep.
Yeah, they have an actual poop monster.
Sign the book for me, so.
You remember the poop monster in that one?
No.
You don't remember the poop monster? It was in the sewer.
Maybe it's been a while since I've read it. I'll go back and read it later.
Okay, yeah, I think I read it like last year, so it's fresher in my mind.
Yeah.
Now, it goes through a sewer. There is an actual poop monster that eats people.
Okay, maybe, yes. Well, I mean, it makes sense to me that you'd have a monster like that. My kids are learning about decomposition and science because we're homeschooling. So we've talked about fungi a lot lately. Fungi.
I like the metaphors they use in that book. Andrew Clayton's just really smart, but like he has another monster that's just made of dead bodies of people it's consumed. It's basically consumes people with like their own sin, essentially. And then a monster.
A monster in my book that's made up of one of the action sequences in the book is the necromancers summon or create a like a construct of like the dead bodies that are in the battle.
Yeah, a monster like that'd be horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely be something you wouldn't want to face in real life.
No.
No. I still tend to like
How do you-
stories where the monster isn't really like a parent. Well, they look like normal people.
The monster.
That's why I
is-
think. Well, like I guess Invasion of the Body Snatchers would probably be like, if that's how aliens or demons would work, that's probably how I would. That would be the scariest form, I think, for me. So, with like regular people. Until
I
they're
see
not
what you're saying.
the pod people.
Just kind of invade your body and look like regular people. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's like what AI really is on some level. It just looks like a person.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
this demonic shadow.
it doesn't
of a
truly
real
learn,
thing.
right? It just kind of it's an amalgamation of input. It
Well,
doesn't
it's a-
Well,
it's a
that's the
tool.
It
thing.
just gets
Like, yeah, like the AI, like the artificial intelligence part of it, like you assume it's actual real intelligence on some level, and but you can train a bot to be stupid. I mean, wasn't that the whole
Yeah.
thing about that K-bot that was that Twitter like a couple years ago, or
I don't
or
know.
it was Microsoft. Somebody made like a Watson like thing, and they put it on Twitter, and by the end of the day, like she was a Nazi. Or yeah,
That
that's the
doesn't
internet for
sound.
you.
Yeah, that sounds well within the realm of possibilities. I saw Babylon Bee write a headline that was kind of like that. It was like they had AI watch CNN and now it's retarded.
definitely-
Well,
They're definitely just tools, though. There's nothing really intelligent like about it.
Yeah.
They come short of passing the Turing test. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely
well,
not true intelligence.
we'll have to watch it as it adapts. But I mean, like, you know, painters 100 years ago didn't have Photoshop, you know, so like
Yeah.
on some level you can't stop progress. You just have to put enough
Yeah.
like fail safes in place.
Yeah.
That-
As realistic
that-
as it looks, I think there is something subconscious. Like when Theo was saying, like you could see the imperfections, you know, and just relate to what someone's feeling when they draw something. It kind of reminds me of mirror neurons and how the more sympathetic animals in the animal kingdom, like cats and dogs, have mirror neurons too, and they learn from watching people's expressions, and you know,
Yeah.
they're more social creatures, and you learn from just watching, and that's because of the mirror neurons in your brain. And I feel like that must be related somehow to the way you could just look at something and tell another human being created that, and they must have been feeling these things, and I could feel these things from looking at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll ever be able to get that from a computer.
No, you won't. It's too complex to be able to capture that essence. It's a spiritual. It's not just emotional. It's a spiritual thing. You can feel
It
it.
is.
Like there's a.
I do think it is
it's
spiritual.
eternal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, just because we could explain it with our brains and our brain development, I think there's definitely a metaphysical element in there of like, yeah, there's definitely a spiritual aspect to it for sure.
Because psychological things can only explain so much. You can implement psychological tests and things on a computer, and it can pass it. It can do all the psychological examination of a human. In fact, have you seen some of the writers today? They write more like computers than a computer does. I mean, it's just some of today's writers in Hollywood. A lot of their movies seem almost manufactured, and maybe they already are using AI writing. For all I know, I mean, my brother and I we joke about that all the time. It's like, are they
Isn't that what
already?
the whole protest is going on with the Hollywood, that they're already using AI?
That's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It has to be. Or I still would laugh if it's not, and it actually ends up improving the writing. If they end up improving on the writing, the stories actually end up good because they're copying the source material. They just copy the source material, put it into a AI, and then just pumps out a movie or a show, and it's comic book accurate, book accurate, whatever. It comes out exactly like the book, exactly like the movie, with a few deviations, small deviations that are just so small that you don't even notice it. And then you have the actual writers who think they're writers. Not everyone in there is a writer. I noticed a lot of people that got hired, they're people who are failed comedians that were on YouTube. A lot of them are failed YouTubers who or maybe not failed, but they're famous for among normies, not among people who actually appreciate that kind of artwork, the kind of superhero or sci-fi or fantasy, those genres, the popular IPs that everyone's trying to copy. And it's something that you can't replicate unless you care about it. And it's, like I said, it seems as though they themselves are writing like AI, like bots. And it's like, have they already been replaced, or is like, are these protesters already the AIs themselves? It's like, it's just
right. Yeah, it's definitely generic and
artificial.
soulless. You could tell.
Yes.
You could tell they're not fans of the work.
I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
on the counter to that, though, the stuff that Hollywood's producing the last couple of years is also generic and soulless as well, right? So
Yes.
if they write any, go ahead.
When you have this line of like, you know, you got to think this way and you got to speak this way and act this way, it stifles creativity because you're crushing people's individuality when you do that.
It's super homogenized.
Well, like maybe it's because like the strong female characters are such a point of contention. It's just like, I'm tired of women who are like, oh, you always have to get along. Like I said that in like Wakanda Forever. It's like, it would have been so much better if Riri had been the villain, just because like not women don't actually get along with women like right off the bat, you know. They have their little dance with like men. Like men have the same thing. It's like you have to earn each other's respect, and you have to almost like genuinely form a connection before you can work together in a way that won't actually self-sabotage you on some level.
Have you guys ever watched John Mulaney, the comedian?
No.
I've heard of him.
He's got this one where he talks about I don't think you could do Ocean's 11 with all women.
There's a reason they had to shorten it to 8, I guess, for that one.
Right. Yeah, I think they did try. But that was before they even tried the movie. But yeah. Then they did try the movie, and I thought that was funny. Just a funny concept. But you're right. People do have to earn each other's respect. That was one of my biggest complaints with The Force Awakens, because you got this former stormtrooper and the X-Wing pilot, and then they're just like friends all of a sudden. And it never comes up again where they might distrust each other.
Yeah.
When you look at A New Hope by comparison, for like half the movie, they don't even like each other as a group, and they end up becoming best friends.
Yeah, Han and Luke don't get along until like the last 20 minutes.
And Leia and Han absolutely hate each other.
Yeah, which I think is hilarious.
Right.
So.
And then when they are getting along, it's very dysfunctional as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like basically like that. People like you're forced to work with, but you develop a friendship with, in a sense. Because it's not, because you're stuck with these people, like they're your comrades in arms. It's not people you necessarily like, it's people that you're joking with, like it's you know.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why The Office is still really popular too. Like you just work with these people and you try to get along, and sometimes you genuinely have really good friends that come out of it and friendships that come out of it. It's more because you're like forced to bond with each other.
Yeah.
Any other reason. Like there would be no other catalyst for any other reason.
Right. Yeah. Very true.
I will say that's another reason why I don't think young people are really great at a lot of things. It's like you haven't learned enough, seen enough, experienced enough to pick up on a lot of the nuances and stuff. And I don't think young people today are taught about human nature either, because they're force fed all this stuff where it's like, oh, you have to work together, you know. You're a woman, you have to support other women, you know, and you're a man, so you're toxic, so you have to step back and let other people have their turn. And it's like like meritocracy is not a thing. Okay,
when you're homeschooled, that's a whole other dilemma, because then you have, when you run into those kind of people, and then your own upbringing is separate from that, and so you're taught real human interaction between your family members and other people that you know on a more personal level. So whenever you're told, when you're a guy told, move aside, you gotta make room for this girl, you're like, no. Just no. Back off.
I've seen the
do what I'm
memes
gonna do.
It reminds me of those memes. If you homeschool, your kid won't fit into normal society. Yeah, that's the point.
There's a reason that
home-
rich people didn't send their kids to public school 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
Right. Or
I mean,
now. They still do. I don't think.
actually, yeah, I've seen that most rich kids are homeschooled. Most of them, not all
That
of
are
them.
privately schooled, yeah.
There's that one. Yes. However, those they might as well be going to regular school because they're being taught pretty much the same stuff.
Yeah.
They behave in a manner that is unbecoming of a human being. They're very disturbed and
Yeah.
psychotic, narcissistic. They're literally trained to be narcissistic, and it's sad and weird.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
then they are thrown into the real world, and they're like, why don't people like me? Why don't they give me attention? And it's like, because you don't deserve it. You didn't earn anything.
Yeah. I think that's all goes back to like there's definitely a craving for like real stuff, real human interaction, stuff that's not force fed.
Yeah.
Stuff that's not performative or what's the other word I'm looking for? Like you said, fake,
Yeah.
disingenuous, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm homeschooling my kids now, and I will say, like, you do have to teach them. Like, I teach them, you don't have to like everybody, but you should try to get along. So that means you have manners, and if someone's not playing along, you leave as quickly as you can, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely important.
It's hard to find a balance. There's an episode of Rugrats, I think, where Betty and Howard are like, they're redoing their vows or something, and well, Betty's on a computer and she's typing in everything that you need to know to be a mom, and then the computer breaks down. She's like, yeah, that's it. I feel that way about human interaction. Like, do this thing, except when this thing doesn't work, and then there's this thing that you have to watch, and then this thing, and then it'll be fine. So
yeah.
And if it's not fine, I'll be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you gotta keep it authentic and stay true to your beliefs. That's, I think.
Yeah, because I think as long as you teach a child or teach them while they're young to be mindful of your elders and also don't take any crap at the same time. But so whenever you interact with people who try to talk down to you, you know how to respond. But then there's the element of think before you speak. You can't just react. You have to learn how to think for a moment, reflect. What's the outcome of this? Will you cause harm? Will you, as long as you can reflect and then be like, well, this is only going to hurt this one person, and everyone else is going to understand. Then you give that reaction. you speak clearly. You correct, but do never tear down and never try to harm someone. Only you can humble someone, but there's a difference. There is a balance that you have to achieve there. And I think if you teach them, like I said, when they're young, help them learn properly, don't force them to behave this way, but make sure it becomes natural to them by setting the example, being that way around them, so that they will see it and understand it, and then be like, oh, okay. That's how I think today they brainwash kids into behaving a certain way by that's why they have them in front of the TV all the time. They have them on the tablet all the time, and it's disturbing and it's weird. That's why they seem so alien. They're like, they see another human.
Yeah.
they're just so,
for what it's worth, my kids don't like that when they have too much tech screen time. I can tell, and I've told them before, I'm like, you don't want to be pouring your soul into the screen. You need other people. You need to put it on paper where you can show it to other people, so
yeah, it's definitely good to be able to separate the technology from real human interaction. But
exactly.
We are about run short on time, but
oh man,
great conversation.
Wasn't it great talking about aliens the whole 2 minutes that we did today?
Yeah, no, I mean, aliens plus AI. I mean, I feel like we definitely talked a lot about AI plus real art and the importance of real art, and I think that's more at the
aliens or demons.
Demons. We can leave it at that. Aliens probably poop, and
I'm still not.
Poop, so there's the main takeaway there, I think.
I'm not sold on it. On aliens being demons.
Oh well, I like the idea of it. And I see it more when I look at like the past history, like people are like, oh, where are the dinosaurs if the Bible is real and stuff, and it's like they didn't call dinosaurs until X point in history. So what's this Leviathan over here? And so I think you can almost do the same thing, like when I think of certain religions that have come about by like visions from angels, I think, oh, there you go, demons. And now I'm like, oh, I got abducted by aliens. So I'm like, yeah, demons. So
you're taken up into the heavens. That's Bible describes it as being. I think it was either Paul or Peter. I can't remember which one. Paul, you got taken up into the heavenlies, it says, and shown the fullness of time and space, and seen the secrets that are unveiled. And you got to see the different heavenlies. I think there were 7, and each one showed, or each one revealed the different aliens or angels, the different angelic beings. And when you reflect on the fact that God created everything, then you have that concept of, well, if God created everything, then aliens who are evil would be demons. There's a very clear-cut path. And the ones who are good are already, they're not going to come down here unless they have to destroy. Like, they're going to destroy evil. They're not going to, so no matter what, there's going to be some destruction. And then there's the few outliers who are there to save people. Those are not aliens. Those are angelic beings. So I'd say there's demons and there's angelic beings. And people want to use alien topics to say aliens are, to try to disguise people or disrupt the thought pattern of maybe people were abducted by aliens. Like, when the rapture comes, we'll see what happens. If people believe in the rapture or not, or whatever's going to happen happens. I'm excited for whatever happens, but
that's kind of how I feel too. Like, it could be either way, and I'd be okay.
Yeah. If we're taken by aliens, it would be fun.
So what if they come down and they're cool? Like, they're straight up, like they're just chill people.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I like the idea personally. Like, I don't know. So, I this might be an interesting philosophical or like conversation to have some other time. But like, are you guys familiar with the ontological argument for the existence of God?
So the ontological one is the like everything has a purpose one, or is that the teleological one?
Everything has
a
cause.
Sorry, I get those two.
That's a colon.
Okay.
No, the ontological is basically, it's an a priori argument. So basically, it's that if God being a necessary being and the most powerful possible being you can imagine, he would have to exist in every possible world by definition of who he is. Therefore, he exists in this world. That's essentially the argument. It's a bit more complex than that, but I like to think that carries over into fiction and all the possible worlds we can imagine. I don't know if that's the most philosophically coherent thought, but it's kind of where my mind goes. So I like to think in any possible fictional world that someone has thought of, God exists there, the same God that we know.
I think at some point it has to, because anything created, anything divine, or anything that is imaginative, I should say, would be divine in some measure. And that's why for some people, you have the if you look at DC Comics as a rough example, they created the source wall, and beyond the source wall there is the source, and you have they've created God many times over in that style, that format. And then you have Marvel, they have their own version of God as well. Granted, theirs sucks, and they keep reinventing him to appease certain religions because they get insulted or they get derailed from their jobs, and it's like it's like,
yeah, exactly. You go high enough and you get to the Judeo-Christian God, essentially.
Yeah, and what I don't like is whenever they mock him, and I feel like, beware.
Yeah, do not do that. He will not be mocked.
It's just pathetic, really. If you're gonna mock someone, if anything, mock the ones that they themselves have confessed it's not real. It's a physical thing they created in their own head. Like, it's not real. There's certain ones that they create physically idols of, and they say themselves, like, yeah, that we invented this. The concept of it was invented. Whereas Jesus, there's proof of his existence. They found evidence of it over so many centuries. They keep finding proof, and then the other ones, no proof. The only proof is that it's fake. So it's like, if you're gonna mock anything, mock those.
Right. Mock the fake.
Those are the fake ones.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so like in my comic, sorry, go ahead.
My fault.
Who's going?
You go.
You talk first. I talk first.
You go first.
RJ, you talk, because we want to hear about the comic. Okay.
You go first. I'll go after.
All right. Well, anyway, my comic book. So yeah, I believe the Judeo-Christian God would inevitably have to exist in every possible fiction world. But so I created one where aliens aren't demons, but there is an alien species genetically close enough to humans that could actually breed with humans and create a different race. But because of the concept of, humans are the image of God, their offspring would continue to be the image of God, and the church would spread through them. I kind of ran with that idea, but I think aliens that are not the image of God would have to be either like angelic-like, in that they're not receptive of grace and salvation like the image of God could be, or they'd have to be completely evil like a demon. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Feel free to.
That sounds great. I mean,
when I'm writing like fantasy or books or worlds and universes, I either go like a traditional kind of way and like base it slightly or mostly on history, and then have like generally like a god set up as the way it is, or I just exclude it entirely. The reason I do that is because like just make it a different universe, right? Like to have a different concept, maybe or like a pantheon of like Greek gods or whatever, because it's myth. You're writing myth, right? You're not writing a one-to-one thing, right? Like it's not that.
No, I agree with you. It's not always like the purpose of the writing, but hypothetically, in that world, if you were to take conceptually like far enough, there would have to be an ultimate greatest possible being. It's like, even if the Greek pantheon were real, God would still have to be real.
Yeah.
I don't think the Greek pantheon's real. Obviously, I
think
God
they are real.
Well, yeah, real in like maybe a demonic sense, but not like God's the way the Egyptians thought of them, for example. But I think what God showed, in Exodus is like, if these things are real, like you say they are, and they are who you say they are, they're still not as powerful as me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take too. Yeah.
We lost Theo.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's about time to wrap up anyway. But,
there is.
Before we go, I want to 1 second. Let me show my comic book. I haven't got a chance.
Go for it.
Yeah, the recent comic book that I'm working on with my brother, the one that's coming out this coming October. It's a tie between October and November. But 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to.
No, it's okay. I think you can share the screen with the present button at the bottom.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to find the screen. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. The Legend of Tao is a comic book series I'm working on with my brother right now. Do you see it, or is it showing up?
No, we still got your face.
Wonderful.
At the bottom, it should give you an option.
Present. I'm gonna put it on second screen. Just a second. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to show us your bank account while you're.
So under settings, it's got
I see it
camera, right? And then you can
add it.
There you go.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, Legend of Tao. This is the cover image that's coming out this August, or actually not August, sorry, October or September, or it's kind of tied between September and October, but it's going to be 100 pages if I can get it to print at that if I can get them to print it at that level. But if I can't, it's going to be 64 pages. But the storyline focuses on a character who is trying to right the wrongs of his father. but at the cost, basically, he realizes that he cannot do that, and he learns basically the responsibility of fighting for others, not just his own family. And in doing so, he unlocks something within him, that an inner strength that he never knew he had. The storyline is very much reminiscent of things that you'd find in, I don't know, Ninja Turtles and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles storylines, if you've seen some of the characters and the kind of the growth process of a character. The way me and my brother both want to depict him getting stronger over time and basically overcoming new challenges and finding out who this threat is in the background. And the threat that he fights against the most is a gang called the Jinsei Day. The Jinsei Day is Cantonese for the Golden Ones, and it's the love of money. It's a parable on the love of money and the love of gold and things of that nature. And it's not all that deep. It's just it was a fun little play on words and kind of our own version of a mafia. And we're trying to build a whole world around these characters and this entire. Me and my brother are actually drawing up a map of each city in our comic books that's going to be shown, not just in this one, but in other stories that we're telling that are connected to it. This one, The Legend of Tao, is going to be as standalone as it can be, but it's going to have tie-ins to the other comic books we're working on. But I don't have the cover images done just yet on the others. The others are there's Voyager. He's a speedster, and he's basically, it's a coming of age story with him in particular. Let me see if I can pull up an image of that one. I think I might actually have it on the feed here. Sorry.
So you're gonna throw this on Fund My Comic when it's ready to go?
Yes, I'm gonna put it on Fund My Comic as well as Indiegogo, but I'm gonna start off with Fund My Comic. But yeah, I can't find the other images. But there's. Sorry, I'm going next out of this. I'm gonna go next out. Oh, that's the character I drew for.
Yeah, for me.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yeah, I had a really good idea for like a space opera, and I like having pictures of my characters. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
It was that one was a fun one to draw. I just kept on adding details to her over time, and I was just like, I wonder what this would look like. And I added a little kind of some elements I drew from Buzz Lightyear and things like that. And it was just kind of fun to draw. But,
yeah, well, Hollywood's running out of redheads to make into black people, so I thought we need some more redheads. I think so.
Yep. I have one of my comic books. I have one. Her name is Sparrow. I have one redhead. She's going to be a vigilante similar to Tao, except reminiscent. I'd say the closest reminiscent, if I wanted to compare it to anything, it'd be Daredevil. So like female Daredevil.
Very cool. I have no redheads. My comics are not for those people.
If you ever want to do an action figure of that character, you should let me know, or statue or bust or whatever.
Oh, that would be cool.
I can do that.
Yeah.
You see my work?
Oh, well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I've been wondering how to do those actually lately, so I'll probably pick your brain for it.
But like the 3D model?
A little bit later.
Or how to make 3D models?
How to make them. Because
I've
seen, I know you know how to make them. So.
Yeah, I do lessons. If you have the time and the cash, I can set you up for some lessons.
Oh, well, I'll have to dig around my couch cushions. Let you know.
She gave me all her money. That's what happened.
With what I can say about 3D art is you don't have to know perspective, right? I mean, it's good to know it, but you don't have to know it to learn it. It's just learning the interface. And once you learn the interface and how the tools combine, the only thing that is left is learning anatomy. And it's a little bit easier to do that when you can physically see the anatomy and spin it around in a 3D environment and see how things kind of look from different angles. So it's not too hard.
Well, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I've seen people make their own like little action figures of their characters and stuff, and that would be really fun to do. I saw people trying to do that with Funkos before, then I saw Funkos kind of like went out of business. It was one of those things that you just kind of put to the back of your mind after you see that. It's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yes. Well, we're about well over time, I think. But
Yeah,
it's been great having
It
you
was a good
guys.
chat.
Sorry to have to
Yeah.
cut it
it's fun.
short. I feel like our best conversations always happen at the end.
Yeah,
do
we
like
should just.
a
Yeah.
not Sunday where we don't have to like go to work and just cut it off. We do a 3-hour show instead of an hour,
Yep.
hour and a half.
I've been finding a lot of the best shows recently are in a little longer, right?
Mhm.
It wears a little bit, so people are comfortable with each other. Like, or not
Yeah.
wears, but like they get used to the. People are people are shy. Like you go to a new bar, you meet new people. You know, it takes you a couple beers to relax, but not until you go to the same bar like 5 times are you truly comfortable in that environment, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do a longer. We gotta do like a better time slot, I think, is what it is. Then we just go longer.
Yeah.
Well, we could
I think
always
that'd be
start
fun.
earlier, maybe.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's more the Sunday. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, if you
I
ever,
think
if you ever want to stomach having me on again, I'll definitely join y'all again.
Oh,
That'd be
absolutely,
fun.
yeah.
Oh yes, yes. Please have
Yeah.
Theo come back so we can hear more about his comic as he's making
Yeah.
it.
Since you're promoting are going to be launching your book on Fund My Comic, you should talk to Luke if you haven't had a chance and get him to get on Nerd Bacon, and he'll like eventually
Oh,
talk
yeah, that's
about
the
your
way to
book.
do it.
Probably after it's ready to launch, though. But
Yeah,
I think that's how he generally does it.
I have about 50 pages done. I have to finish a few more, but yeah, I definitely want to show previews of it, and I'm working on an animated trailer, 2D animation, and so it's going to be like it's not sorry, my brain, I forget what it's called. It's not animatic. It's a full-on 2D animation trailer that I was working on with my sister, and it's one of those passion projects. We want to eventually actually create our own animated series, but with each of our characters, even if it's like a mini series for each one.
Oh well,
Or
when
maybe
you get on, if you can get on Nerd Bacon, make sure Pedro's on. So
Yeah,
let's
Pedro,
talk
right?
about that.
I'll talk to him. Luke was like the first person that followed me on Twitter when I first joined and started producing like anything. He was the first person that followed me, so I definitely want to talk to him.
Very cool.
Oh,
He was
good.
awesome.
I'm sorry you couldn't come today. So I hope he's doing okay.
He's at a concert, I think.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, at least
Well,
the aliens haven't gotten him. So.
Right. Hasn't been abducted. All right. Well, with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.
But thanks for joining, guys, and
I'll
See you next time,
It's always-
folks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks for
well-
hosting.
yeah.
God bless.
God bless. We'll see you next time.
God bless indeed.
Even the appetizing process of broiling the hamburgers is fun and promotes friendship and good fellowship.